Now that we know that the Bears are officially going to be drafting 10th overall in this upcoming 2025 NFL draft, there are some prospects that are going to be out there that are probably going to be around that range that will definitely help the Chicago Bears out. But I want to pinpoint a specific one that we've been talking about throughout the season. He's been one of the better left tackle prospects and offensive tackle prospects in college for quite some time this year. We're talking about LSU's Will Campbell and how I think he will fit with the Bears. We're going to be talking about it right after this. So before we get into the content, just want to say thank you for all of the support. Continue to smash that subscribe button, like, comment, do all the things you've been doing to support this channel, support this brand. Obviously, you know, this is an offset channel from the Windy City Breeze, the main channel, where we talk Chicago Bears news, reports, daily news, all these things, breaking news all the time. I'm your host, Jordan JC. Obviously, you know me as Mr. Media as well. And today we're going to get into a good topic because I want to talk about prospect Will Campbell out of LSU and why I think that he really, really perfectly fits, mind you, what the Bears need and also just the fact that he fits on this offensive line. And so we'll get right into it. We're going to go over, obviously, all of his measurables. We're going to talk about his draft breakdown, his strengths, his weaknesses. And then lastly, I want to get into why he would be a fit. And obviously, I want you all to comment down below. What do you all think about Will Campbell as well? And so starting off, obviously, out of the LSU, the Tigers, left tackle, coming from a great program. So obviously he's gone up against good talent. He's gone up against some of the better edge rushers that are coming out of this draft as well in college because the program is one of the most elite in college. And so that right there is a plus. 6'6", 323 pounds, a junior out of LSU as mentioned. This is a former top-rated Louisiana prep prospect who wasted no time making his mark in Baton Rouge, starting every game at left tackle from day one. Says that his immediate impact earned him freshman All-American honors, and by junior year he sported the coveted number 7 patch, which is given to those that are the top Louisiana playmakers. So that was actually a distinction given to him as actually being the first lineman to ever receive that. Now, here's some of his strengths, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I got a little hot and bothered when it came to seeing some of these strengths because it screams talent, it screams special, and what he could potentially be at the next level. But let's go over him. Masterful pass protector who plays with exceptional patience and matches power rushers force with a stout anchor and precise hand placement. Very good all off the rip strength because obviously you want somebody who has the ability to anchor. When you think about those that are bull rushing, you know one of the issues that we have with Braxton Jones is the fact that he's being taken advantage of and he's being exposed whenever a pass rusher bull rushes him into the quarterback, into Caleb Williams. And so that's a very good strength to have off the rip. Here's another one, nasty finisher in the run game. Now, this is the one that really got me a little hot and bothered. Drives defenders off their spot and maintains blocks through the whistle with relentless leg drive. This is a guy that will play after the whistle is blown. You want to talk about something that you can't teach. You can't teach motor. You can't teach drive. You can't teach effort. Like those are things that are just going to be in a player. And clearly, Will Campbell has this in droves. And so very, very good strength. Shows elite recovery when initially beaten. Has quick feet and good core strength to redirect and stay between the rusher and the quarterback. Good football IQ that's evident in how he handles stunts and blitzes, rarely looking confused against complex pressure packages. So he's an IQ guy. He knows what he's seeing on the field. He can kind of break down what sort of packages, even if they're complex and they're trying to trick the offensive line into doing something kind of off kilter. He's aware of those things. He has a good mind for the game. Here's another one that I really love. Brings juice as a run blocker, consistently creating movement at the point of attack and showing some real dog when working to the second level. Gotta love that. Juice and dog in the same description for your strength. those are things, again, like I said, you can't teach. You can't put dog into a player. You can't put juice into a player. When you hear words like that, when a prospect is being broken down, that just kind of just that gets you tingly inside, obviously, because I mean these are things that can clearly translate to the next level. You can't fake toughness. You can't fake being a dog and being just overly active and overly physical and playing past the whistle. Those are things that are just in you outside of the development of you as a player. And so these are things that you love to see. Now, of course, with the strengths, there also comes weaknesses, and there's a few. And there's a few just because I think, and you'll see when I mention them, just because of his measurables, that there are some weaknesses. But those are things that I believe when I always talk about a really good prospect, there are times where weaknesses can kind of turn into non-weaknesses, maybe not strengths, but you can overcome the weaknesses when you just put in more training off season after off season, and you're getting a little bit more acclimated to the NFL level, NFL speed, NFL game. And so let's go over some of Will Campbell's weaknesses real quick. Mentions his arm length is below average, which could limit his effectiveness against longer NFL edge rushers who can get into his chest first. Occasionally can overset against speed rushers that can compromise the pocket's integrity. Sometimes plays with high pad level when reaching defenders at the second level, causing him to miss on the more athletic linebackers. So maybe some of his weaknesses have to do, obviously, with his measurables. His arm length is not the greatest. So when you have those long, lengthy NFL pass rushers, maybe if they get into his chest first, that could cause some problems. But then again, there could be a offset of that where he has a stout anchor. And so these are things that I think can be managed well while he's trying to be taken advantage of, while his weaknesses are trying to be exposed. Even when it comes to the playing with high pad level, that's something that you can teach and develop, and continue to develop out of a person, out of a player. When it comes to the left tackle, getting lower on your pad level is something that you just have to continue to practice. We have a prospect, or not a prospect, we have a player in Javon Dexter. That was one of his issues coming in when he got drafted a few years ago, is that he was rushing the quarterback with high pad level. He had to get a little bit lower and a little bit lower. And over time, you can see even in this season, he's kind of put it all together where he's improved. And so I think those type of things can just kind of be improved and adjusted over time. So weaknesses that can turn into strengths are really good when you're talking about an elite prospect. So here's the overall summary for Will Campbell. He fits the profile of a day one starter, obviously, with scheme versatility and Pro Bowl upside. While his college career at tackle was outstanding, his skill set and physical tools might actually be better suited inside at guard in the NFL. And so when you're talking about, maybe a versatile tackle, versatile lineman, this is a guy who obviously played left tackle all at LSU. So he has premium experience there. But if you're talking about where he can be used and probably be utilized the best, then it'd be inside at guard. And perhaps even with the Bears situation where maybe Tevin Jenkins might not be here next year, you're talking about somebody that can fit right into that role. Now, here's my opinion on how I feel it should go. Let's just say Tevin Jenkins stays here. Obviously, I would put Tevin Jenkins at right guard along with Darnell Wright. I don't know why that pairing hasn't been together for the life of me with the Bears. But Braxton Jones to me has been he's already peaked in a sense. He's already capped out. We know what Braxton Jones is, and we know what he isn't. We know his strengths. We also know his weaknesses, and so does the defender. I think that when you have an elite prospect like this at left tackle, you keep him at left tackle and you see what he can do. Now that you know what Braxton Jones can do, you put Braxton Jones on the inside at guard and see what he can do at guard. And maybe there'll be less bull rushes. Maybe there'll be some more of him being a better complementary player to the left tackle rather than him playing that position. And so that's what I would do. Now, obviously, the next question is, how does this fit with the Bears? And in my notes, I put DUH. Duh. Like, we know how it fits with the Bears. The Bears have one of the worst offensive lines in the football. We know that they need an upgrade in almost all of their positions outside of Darnell Wright. And as I mentioned, if Tevin Jenkins decides to go, we're really going to need some help across this line. We need help at center. Coleman Shelton has a great mind for the game, but he's too small, he's undersized, and he gets taken advantage of. Matt Pryor, I mean, very, very good. He kind of held his own throughout the year at right guard. But obviously, if you can get an upgrade, you would. So maybe there's an upgrade there. And then left guard. We don't know if that's going to be an open position because, as I mentioned, Tevin Jenkins. Now, left tackle, that's obviously a need because the left tackle position is Caleb's blind spot. I believe that's his blind spot. And so when he's throwing the ball, you got to make sure that you have a guy that's going to be, as is mentioned in his strengths, stout in his anchor, making sure that he adjusts to those NFL edge rushers that are going to bull rush or make multiple moves or spin moves to try and get to the quarterback. And a guy like Will Campbell, I think, can be a immediate upgrade, obviously, with his talent, his upside, his skill set. This is a guy that can impact the game from day one, as mentioned. And they even give him comparisons, pro player comparisons to David DeCastro. I even saw the likes of Talise Fuaga, Olu Fashano. I even saw Karan Amageji's name in there. That was a little frightening to see. But I think that's just more so the prospect side of things, not the NFL level, but the prospect side of things and how he looked at Yale. And so think about those names, David DeCastro, those type of names where you come in right away and you're an immediate impact. You're a great starter from day one. And so I think that's what Will Campbell will be. You love the extra things that he brings. You love the dog, the juice, the grit. Again, those are things that I think need to be put on this line. I think that's another thing that can benefit this line when you have a guy that will, one, take up for Caleb. That is not just going to allow, him to constantly get sacked. We've seen Caleb get sacked 68 times his rookie season. That is utterly ridiculous. And so clearly that needs to improve. And I think a prospect like Will Campbell will be the start of making sure that Caleb is a little bit more freer in the pocket, that he's a little bit more healthier in the pocket, and he doesn't get sacked as many times. This is the guy that you need to go out and get if and when he's at number 10. And so this is the guy that I would want first. Obviously, we're going to be talking about a few more prospects. The more and more closer we get to draft time and the more the offseason kind of gets going into gear, after the playoffs and the Super Bowl and everything gets past, you'll see me kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive into more prospects that I think maybe we should or could get at number 10, say if Will Campbell's not there. And even into the second or third rounds, I'll go a little bit deeper and do a little bit more research into those prospects that will help. Because, of course, we need more help than just one guy. Will Campbell would be a good start, but we do need more help on the offensive line, on the other side of the trenches with edge rusher. And so you'll see me get into that as well. But just want to get you guys' thoughts on how do you think Will Campbell himself will be as a prospect? Do you think he'll follow through and be an immediate impact day one starter in the NFL? How do you think he fits with the Bears specifically? Is there anybody else at number 10 that you think realistically will be there? Obviously, there are names that I would love to be there at number 10. I don't think they will. I look at a guy like Abdul Carter out of Penn State. That's a guy that I would love. He kind of comes in the mode of a Micah Parsons, a speedier Micah Parsons, mind you, but I don't foresee him being there on the board at number 10. And so I would be fine with the Will Campbell. But obviously, I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. I'll be down there in the comment section with you as always. And as always, if you like this video, show some class. Comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video with others. I see you guys on the next Bears Breeze.